Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going inside one of the most beautiful transformation journeys in the world, the journey of a ruby. From rough stone hidden in the earth, to a polished gemstone, and finally into a finished piece of jewelry. At first glance, a ruby ring or ruby necklace looks effortless. It shines under the light. It feels elegant, emotional, and luxurious. It can become a gift, an heirloom, a symbol of love, a statement of beauty, or a treasured object passed from one generation to the next. But behind that red glow is a long process of discovery, selection, science, cutting, craftsmanship, inspection, design, metalwork, stone setting, polishing, and final quality control. A ruby does not become jewelry by magic. It has to be found. It has to be washed. It has to be sorted. It has to be examined. It has to survive the cutter's wheel. It has to be shaped facet by facet. It has to pass the eye of gemologists. Then, only after all of that, it can become the center of a finished jewelry piece. This is not just the story of a gemstone. This is the story of how raw beauty becomes wearable art. Ruby is one of the most famous gemstones in human history. For centuries, it has been associated with passion, courage, power, wealth, and love. Its deep red color made it stand apart from other stones long before modern gem laboratories existed. In many cultures, ruby was seen as one of the most precious stones in the world, a gem worthy of royalty, temples, collectors, and fine jewelry. Scientifically, ruby is a red variety of corundum, the same mineral family as sapphire. What makes ruby special is its red color, which comes from trace elements within the crystal structure. But not every red stone becomes a valuable ruby. Color, clarity, size, origin, treatment history, cutting quality, and overall appearance all affect the value of the final gem. That is why the journey from rough ruby to jewelry is so intense. The process begins at the source. In a ruby-bearing region, workers search through rock, gravel, or mineral-rich earth for signs of gemstone material. Depending on the deposit, ruby may be found inside host rock or recovered from alluvial gravel that has been carried by water over time. At this stage, the ruby does not look like the polished gemstone we imagine. It can be muddy, broken, cloudy, irregular, or hidden inside ordinary-looking material. The first challenge is discovery. Workers carefully extract ruby-bearing rock or collect gemstone-rich gravel. The material is brought to washing areas where mud and clay are removed. Water flows through trays and channels. Larger stones are separated. Smaller fragments are sorted. And then, sometimes, among dull rocks and wet gravel, a flash of red appears. This is one of the most exciting moments in the process. A rough ruby crystal may be small. It may be cloudy. It may be fractured. But inside it could be the color and fire that will one day become the heart of a ring, pendant, bracelet, or necklace. After washing, the rough ruby is sorted. Workers separate stones by size, color, shape, transparency, and visible condition. Some pieces are too broken. Some are too included. Some are not suitable for fine cutting. Others are set aside as promising candidates. This early sorting is important because every rough ruby is different. Unlike a manufactured material, a gemstone comes from nature. It has internal features, natural growth patterns, cracks, color zones, and unique shapes. A cutter cannot simply force every stone into the same final form. The stone must be studied before it can be transformed. Once the rough ruby is accepted from the source, it moves into a gemological environment. Here the process becomes more precise. The rough stones are cleaned again and placed under bright inspection lights. Gemologists and technicians examine them under magnification. They look for fractures, inclusions, color direction, transparency, and cutting potential. A stone that looks beautiful from one angle may lose color from another. A stone that seems large may contain internal weakness. A stone that appears dull may reveal stronger color when oriented correctly. This is where experience matters. The goal is not simply to cut the biggest stone possible. The goal is to find the best balance between beauty, weight, durability, and value. Cutting too much can waste precious material. Cutting too little can leave the gem lifeless. Cutting in the wrong direction can reduce brilliance or expose flaws. In some cases, Ruby may also go through treatment screening or disclosure review at a general documentary level. This part must be handled responsibly. The goal is not to hide anything. The goal is transparency. Gemologists may examine whether a stone shows signs of treatment history, whether it needs further review, and how it should be documented. In professional jewelry production, trust depends not only on beauty, but also on honest evaluation. There is no shortcut here. No fake certificate, no hidden treatment, no stone switching, no bypassing inspection. A ruby's value must be built on what it truly is. Before full cutting begins, a pilot cut or trial polish may be performed on a representative stone or a small sample. This helps the cutter understand how the material behaves. Does the color improve after polishing? Are the inclusions too risky? Does the stones hold together under the wheel? Is the planned orientation correct? This trial stage is one of the most important moments in the journey. A single wrong decision can reduce the beauty or value of the gem. A good cutter must think like an engineer, an artist, and a risk manager at the same time. After pilot review, the main cutting plan is approved. The rough ruby is mounted onto a dopstick, which helps hold it steady during cutting. The first cuts remove unwanted material and begin shaping the stone. This is called preforming. At this stage, the ruby starts to lose its rough natural shape and take on a more intentional form. The transformation is slow. The cutter turns the stone carefully. The wheel spins. Water cools the contact point. Tiny particles are removed. The ruby becomes more symmetrical. The cutter studies the stone again and again, adjusting the angle to protect color, minimize fractures, and prepare for faceting. Then comes faceting. This is where the ruby begins to come alive. Facets are cut one by one. The crown, the pavilion, the table, and the angled surfaces are shaped to control how light enters and exits the stone. A ruby is not simply polished into a red pebble. It is engineered to reflect light, reveal color, and create brilliance. Every facet matters. If the angles are wrong, the stone can look dark or lifeless. If the symmetry is poor, the beauty suffers. If a hidden inclusion breaks during cutting, the stone may need rework or be rejected for fine jewelry. That is why inspection continues throughout the lapidary process. After the first facing passes, the ruby is checked under magnification. Symmetry is inspected. Alignment is reviewed. Some stones move forward. Others go into a rework tray. The approved stones return to the cutting machine for finer shaping. Then the polishing begins. Polishing is one of the most satisfying stages. The ruby's surface changes from matte and rough to smooth and reflective. The red deepens. The brilliance becomes clearer. The stone begins to show the glow that people associate with fine ruby jewelry. But even now, the gemstone is not finished. It must still pass Gemological quality control. Under neutral light, gemologists inspect the polished ruby for color, clarity, cut quality, symmetry, surface finish, and overall appearance. The stone may be weighed and measured, with values kept blurred in the video. A non-readable report may be prepared. Stones that do not meet the expected quality can be reworked or separated. Approved stones are staged for jewelry design. Now the ruby is ready to become part of a larger object. But jewelry is not only about the gemstone. The metal matters too. Depending on the design, the jewelry may use gold, white gold, platinum, or another precious metal. The metal feedstock is received, inspected, and prepared. A small pilot melt or material check may be performed. The approved metal is melted, cast, rolled, drawn, filed, shaped, and formed into the ring body, pendant frame, or setting structure. This is where gemstone work and metal craftsmanship begin to meet. At the same time, if the design includes accent stones, those stones must also be cleaned, matched, inspected, and staged. Small accent stones need consistency in size, appearance, and setting suitability. Mismatched stones can be rejected or replaced. This prevents the final jewelry from looking uneven. Meanwhile, the designer creates the visual concept. A jewelry designer may sketch the ring or pendant, review a digital model, or create a wax or resin prototype. The ruby is held above the model to check proportion. Does this balanced? Is the setting strong enough? Will the prongs protect the ruby? Is the design elegant, wearable, and structurally sound? A beautiful ruby can still fail as jewelry if the design is wrong. So the prototype is inspected. The seat for the stone is checked. The prong layout is reviewed. If the prototype is flawed, it goes to rework. Only when the design is approved does production move forward. The ring body or jewelry is informed. Metal is cast or shaped. Rough edges are removed. The piece is filed, cleaned, and checked for symmetry. The seat for the center ruby is prepared. Accent stone seats are prepared if needed. Then comes the moment everyone has been waiting for. The ruby is placed into the setting. Using tweezers and a microscope or magnified bench view, the stone setter lowers the polished ruby into its seat. At this stage, the ruby is plated, but not yet fully secured. The alignment is checked. The stone must sit correctly. It must face the right direction. It must be centered. It must not tilt. Then the prongs are tightened. This part requires incredible control. Too little pressure, and the stone may not be secure. Too much pressure, and the stone or setting could be damaged. The stone setter works carefully, adjusting each prong and checking the ruby's position again and again. Accent stones may be placed next, one by one. Each tiny stone is aligned, secured, and inspected. The piece slowly changes from a metal setting into real jewelry, but the process is still not complete. Final jewelry QC begins. Inspectors check the center ruby. They check accent stones. They inspect prongs, alignment, polish quality, surface finish, comfort, and wearability. The inner band is checked for smoothness. The setting is reviewed under bright light. A minor issue can send the piece back to correction. This is what separates a piece of fine jewelry from a simple decorative object. It has to be beautiful, but it also has to be wearable. It has to sparkle, but it also has to hold together. It has to look emotional, but it also has to be structurally reliable. After final correction and polishing, the jewelry is cleaned. It may pass through ultrasonic cleaning. It is dried, wiped, and inspected again. A final non-readable report or quality document may be prepared. Then the approved ruby jewelry moves to packaging. The box is inspected. The insert is prepared. The ring or pendant is placed carefully inside. Package QC confirms that everything is clean, secure, and presentation ready. Only then can the piece move to authorized handover or a safe display environment. And finally, the ruby enters real life. It may become a gift. It may be worn at a formal event. It may become part of someone's daily style. It may be stored as a keepsake. It may become a family heirloom. What began as a rough red crystal hidden in stone can end as something deeply personal, a symbol of love, memory, achievement, or identity. That is the emotional power of ruby jewelry. It is not valuable only because it is rare. It is valuable because of the journey. The earth created the crystal. Workers found it. Sorters selected it. Gemologists studied it. Cutters shaped it. Polishers revealed its brilliance. Designers gave it form. Goldsmiths built the setting. Stone setters secured it. QC inspectors protected its quality. And finally, someone wears it, gives it, or keeps it close. A ruby is nature's color. Jewelry is human craftsmanship. And the final piece is where both meet. So the next time you see a ruby ring, do not see only a red gemstone. See the mountain source, the washing trays, the sorting table, the microscope, the cutting wheel, the polishing lap, the design bench, the metal workshop, the stone setter's hands, the final QC light, and the emotional moment when the finished piece enters someone's life. From rough stone to polished gem. From polished gem to finished jewelry. From hidden earth to human meaning. That is the story of ruby. If you enjoyed this journey inside the ruby jewelry production process, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next deep dive into the world's most fascinating materials, factories, and hidden production systems. And tell me in the comments, which gemstone or jewelry making process should we explore next?